One day I'm going to do that, and it's going to explode all over this expensive equipment. The other issue, still not sponsored, and run out of cans. So that's probably going to stop. Anyway, let's crack straight into this. I wanted to kick off this Friday meltdown with making sure that my levels are right. I wanted to kick off this Friday meltdown first of all to say I still haven't done the title intro for this thing, but 3 weeks in a row. Wow, it's almost like it's a habit. I'm kind of enjoying it. I wanted to talk about a couple of different things. I guess because it has been 3 weeks, talk about projects. Actually pushing a whole bunch out the door. I've actually been a little bit behind recently, and I don't like that at all. And we've been behind because of just the workload and then Christmas, and I thought that we would catch up, and suddenly it's the middle of February and you feel crap for not delivering people's projects when you need to. Luckily we have some understanding clients. Luckily I prioritize okay-ish, I think, and we're getting through, and I can actually see like the end of things. Like I think I went through and finalized will be about 3 projects, which will be, I think, 5-6 videos, something like that, and they're bigger projects. And then I also managed to get out for comment, probably put out another 6 or so, and then I managed to get changes done on another 6 or so long content ones, like hour-long ones, and I also managed to do an edit on an hour-long one. So whilst I would normally train on a Friday, I haven't. Work's been more of a priority, and obviously also just need a bit of rest. But I think it's weird. I went out for 10 o'clock this morning. I went out at 10 o'clock this morning for a bit of a walk to try and clear my head. And I didn't think it worked, but I still think that we've managed to crack through a decent amount of work today specifically, but the week overall, to actually feel like we're well and truly up this hill that has been a pain in the arse for the last probably 6 weeks, something like that. And that is a real big positive. Of course, with that comes the okay, well, what are we doing next? But as ever, tackle that one when we come to it. Let me just move centre frame a little bit more. The other thing I wanted to talk around was more around, I guess, continuation on thinking around thoughts on just business in general. I was having an interesting conversation with one of the guys in the industry, and I guess for my perspective of him, and what he does is that it's quite a repetitive thing. He has a product, he turns it out, and that's fine. But the question I have in the back of my head with that sort of stuff is how long? How long before you get bored and you want to do other stuff? Because as creatives, we need to keep moving forward. I think I may have spoken about this, but I think my personal creativity has dropped down a bit. And I think if you are doing a very product-driven, process-driven product, then you're going to end up potentially bored, is the concern. At the other end of the spectrum is where I feel like I've been sitting recently. And as usual, this is not supposed to be like big head stuff. It's just the way I perceive things. But what I have noticed is that I've had a few bigger projects on my platter, and that has been a good challenge in some way. It's nice to, break from product and process products to deliver something that's more challenging for you. And I think as you get more experience in industries, that chance doesn't come around as much because you're more confident in what you can do. So, yeah, at the other end of the spectrum, I guess I have been dealing a little bit too much with the challenge projects. There seems to be always something that seems to be pushing, and that combined with the fact there has been multitude of them and multitude of work going on has caused me a few, I guess, headaches. And so I came around to the thinking of this whole big fish in a little pond. And whilst it isn't the best thing because it doesn't challenge you, I wonder if trying to be a big fish in a little pond actually keeps you sane. And what I mean by that is you actually you sit in an industry and you provide a product that you know you can do all the time, and whatever you give to people, they'll be like, this is the dog's danglies. They will be impressed, they'll be happy and all that sort of stuff, because when you receive that reaction from a client, it is a nice feeling, especially nice when you're in a place of other clients who are smashing you over the head with a lump of iron or titanium or whatever's big and strong these days. So yeah, I wonder if it's about getting the big fish little pond ratio right, so that occasionally you step out and challenge yourself, but for the most of the time you are hitting home runs and people are happy with you and they just don't question stuff. The con side to that sort of thinking is that, one, if you don't even hit the big fish little pond and you're just, you know, a medium fish. Wow, the analogy is getting weird here. But if you're just producing product and you're not really doing that well at it, you're doing okay, but you're not, it's all right, it's good, that sort of thing, but it's not like, fuck yeah, this is amazing, then I don't think that really reaches that goal at all. Starting to lose my train of thought a little bit on this. But yeah, I wonder if you can hit it out all the time and then occasionally reach a little bit and challenge yourself more creatively to deliver, or maybe not even creatively, maybe just you challenge yourself like business wise. Maybe it's a big project, or maybe it's got some technical part to it that challenges you. Maybe that is the way of doing it. Because for me, whilst it's been nice, well, it's been more than nice. That's a rubbish blokey description word, isn't it? Whilst it's been, great to see my business work with some bigger brands, it has caused some problems. And that's not to say that I want to step away from that sort of stuff, but I think I need to be recognizing of that when you take those projects on, because too much of overlapping of that similar style of project could be a bit of a downfall for me. How I get to that point, I'm not entirely sure, but I think, ultimately what I would like to do with the business is take it more so that we are working on projects that we are strong at, because I think that would be a positive way for success. So anyway, that's kind of my thoughts around that. I think maybe that is a better recipe for success. You try and be a big fish in a little pond. You try and do your job really, really well, and then you occasionally challenge yourself, and that's how you grow, rather than making boo-boos and messing up for the bigger guys who then don't want to see you again. Maybe. Food for thought. Fish food for thought. That's so bad. The third and final thing that I was going to talk around was just around personal projects, which I have been trying to get back on board with, and I'm actually so close to finishing probably my biggest personal project, potentially forever, I think. So I shot, whilst I was in New Zealand back in May, we're now in February, so it was a while ago, I shot a whole bunch of footage, and it's difficult. I think projects are difficult when you come to editing if you leave them too long, because you start to lose that enthusiasm for them. And I think projects get harder when I don't even know, this is such a bad position. I was watching a video during the week yesterday, and the person presenting it seemed bored. And I was like, what is the point? And yet I have moved into this position where I look the most bored ever. Anyway, it is supposed to be about recording thoughts and stuff. Anyway, what was I talking about? I was talking about personal projects. So I went to New Zealand. I shot a whole bunch of stuff, and so projects. If that's where I got to. So projects. If you leave projects too long, and this is like business projects and personal projects as well. But if you leave them too long, then they just sit there, and it's really hard to pick them back up. It's almost as hard as when somebody gives you a project fresh, like they've shot it, you've never seen it. You've got to go back through it. You've got to remember what happened, how you're going to pull this together, what kind of storyline you're going to do. But I've done partial edits on this as we've gone through, and that's the other thing with big personal projects like this one. And this one is somewhere between 20 and 25 minutes long. It's a big one. I sometimes think that it's almost like the double the length of video. You put about 4 times as much effort in every time you double it. It's annoying. Trying to put out like 30 seconds is actually sometimes easier. Depends how much of effort you put into your edit, but so I left it for a long time and was trying to deal with it. Of course, it's a personal project, so dealing with it when I've got commercial projects on, like, you don't want to necessarily, after you've done, a week's worth of editing, to sit down on the weekend and edit more stuff. It's just annoying. Where was I going with the rest of that? Can't remember. Anyway, actually have almost finished this project. The concept that I have for it is that it is effectively, I think it's like 7 or 8 videos in one, but all linked together. So I'm trying to build it to feel like it's all one project, but at the same time you could watch each individual piece and feel it's different and a unique piece of work, which is an interesting concept. That's what I was going to say. The other piece was, obviously, when you sit down to look at a long video and you want to just check what you've done, remind yourself, it takes you that long to watch the damn thing, which, when you're talking 25 minutes of video, you could be sitting there for 10 before you can even start work. And let's not forget that if you're doing a complex piece of editing, your computer needs to load all those files. It needs to maybe pre-render some of the footage that's going on so you can actually watch the thing. But I don't know. So this video is pretty much done, and I'm kind of looking forward to it going out, just because, well, one, it's off my plate, but because it is one of the biggest things that I've done from a personal perspective, to actually be able to tick that box and have this thing just go and be out there, and I know no one's going to watch it, but for me it's a personal achievement. And linking back, it's not super creative, but it is nice to have worked on something that's longer, but also trying to string together storylines and things like that without a client's oversight of it has actually been kind of pleasant. Although I am my own worst critic, and I will often rework things a few times. So yeah, it has been problematic. Man, this is starting to drag on. Okay, so yeah, I think that's the 3 things that I wanted to talk around. I wanted to talk around a bit of an update on projects and the fact that we're actually making some progress. I wanted to talk about this big fish, little pond sort of thought process that I've been going through. And I wanted to talk around personal projects, which I did for one. I guess the other one, I've also been doing, sort of delving into this podcasting stuff, and it's actually we've put sort of one as a tester out somewhere else, and I think it worked well. I think, ignoring all the technical side of podcasting, it's just more looking at the style of content. I don't mind it. In all honesty, I'm not a fan of podcasts. I listen to very few. I think they have to give away quite a lot of value before I want to sit and listen to one, or I hardly ever watch them, and I don't find them as engaging as TV, or just other forms of video content. But the more I kind of get involved, the more I am interested in them. And I guess when we're still talking about creativity as a whole, actually having a different form of media to look at and work out how things are done and why you would do them that way, it's kind of interesting. So yeah, just to kind of wrap this up, I guess with work, it's weird. Once you finish projects, then yeah, you start looking for like the next thing. But like, I know the next 2 months are going to go rapidly just disappear because there's stuff left, right and centre that is just going to destroy my working week. So the plan was always to get stuff done before that happened, before we hit March. I think we're going to make it. Famous last words. But the next step that I want to take for the business is really the planning that I wanted to do at the beginning of the year and didn't get a chance because we were just working. I will have somebody starting with me a couple of days a week. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. And hopefully that will free up some time so that I can actually commit my time in other places. There is, as I think I said in maybe the first one of this style of video, a potential that, like, there's always a potential that work doesn't come in, and that's always, it's so crazy. It is literally so crazy that you think, man, I'm rambling in this video. Ooh, and don't bash that cable. Yeah, it's really crazy how people say it's feast and famine. And yeah, it does sometimes feel like that. I don't necessarily know about the feast. It just feels like a lot of work and then just like crickets. And you're like, where is that piece of work coming from? But yeah, I'm not too worried. I think we're just going to focus on improving the business itself, improving the products, get the website up to date, blah, 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 blah. Actually plan the year so, you know, maybe achieve some things. But yeah, anyway, I should wrap this video up because I'm definitely starting to waffle. Anyway, as usual, if you are watching this video, I don't know why, because they're really designed for markers for me, but thanks for tuning in. Hopefully the Big Fish Little Pond thought might spring something for you and help you in your, oh my god, I almost said journey. Don't even get me started on those sort of words. Anyway, so yeah, I want to thank you guys for watching. If you are watching and you're not me, and I'll see you in the next video. Toodles!